You're watching BattleCast Primetime. It's the closing act for Uprising. See what the cast had to say about being part of CNC fame. And take a look at what classic matches we've dug up in our spring cleaning as the BattleCast 5 goes to 10. BattleCast Primetime starts now. You're logged in to BattleCast Primetime. The man on my right, Raj Joshi, I'm David Silverman. Raj, it's an exciting time for Command & Conquer. Uprising and Ultimate are out, and hey, it's almost time to talk about your new product.
Man, I know, David. I am so pumped to be talking about the of the most amazing I was just gonna knock them off their
Well, that certainly sounds exciting, Raj, and we'll be sure to cover it in future episodes of BattleCast Primetime. In the meantime, while Raj's team continues to ramp up, another team is winding down. On March 23rd, the Red Alert 3 Ultimate Edition team shipped the legendary PS3 version and decided that it was time for a little celebration. Let's join them as we meet some developers.
Hi, I'm David Seeholzer. I'm the Senior Development Director of Red Alert 3 Ultimate Edition. And the team isn't working right now. They're not at their desks. They're in here having a little bit of fun because we're celebrating the fact that we're done with the game. Hey guys. Down here with part of the team that's been working so hard for the last couple of months working on the game. Simon is the Senior Technical Director and the architect for the PlayStation 3 version of this game. So Simon, were you ever worried that you weren't going to be able to get this job done?
Absolutely. At the beginning we had many an issue, and one of the main things was memory, and we were worried how we were going to get it to fit and not lose any of the quality. But during our work we actually made the game fit and upped the quality. We haven't cut any corners. The frame rate is just gorgeous.
Nice. Hey guys, who's winning? Okay, I see who the pros are. All right, well, these are two of our hardest working engineers, although they're not working really hard at the moment. This is Aditya Tony and Jason Poon.
Hey guys, this is Heaven.
So did you have any long nights in this project?
I did. It was both fun and exciting, but I wish I had one of these in my office.
I worked so hard, I actually broke my collarbone.
You broke your collarbone?
Yeah.
You're an engineer, come on!
Next, we're talking to Ben Hopkins. Ben, can I pull you away from that for a second?
You know what, this is actually the best I've ever done. I can't believe you're picking now to disrupt this excellent display of
timing is everything, huh?
game here. I was involved in the cinematics. I was pretty much in charge of the post-production, dealt with the post, dealt with the effects, dealt with the editing, the sound design, the music, everything on that level. So
there's a lot of video in the game, isn't there?
I think there's somewhere around 50 minutes.
Wow. Nice touch.
Working on a Red Alert PS3 was like the best experience I've ever had.
Seriously?
Seriously.
How so?
So what made it the most fun was the fact that everybody was communicating with one another, and it was the first time I was on a project where QA and development really felt like a family.
Oh, that's so true.
Oh, yes.
It was a great time. I mean, as quality assurance, we try to make sure the game's fun, and we definitely accomplished that.
Red Alert 3 Ultimate Edition is officially gone gold. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now back to work.
Red Alert 3 Ultimate Edition is off to an amazing start, and the CNC debut PS3 title is looking to become a smash hit. Earlier this month, Red Alert 3 launched an Uprising across the internet and brought with it some Hollywood heavy hitters. Let's take a look at what went on behind the scenes of Uprising, as once again, Joshi sits on the sidelines while David gets to schmooze with all the hotties.
It's Perk. Welcome back to BattleCast Primetime and our exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the campaign expansion for Command & Conquer Red Alert 3, and I'm joined once again by the lovely Gemma Atkinson.
Hello.
Gemma, welcome back.
I'm thrilled to be back, yeah, it's been fab. I'm glad to get in the outfit again, be Eva again.
But you mentioned that Eva has a crush on the commander, and it sounds like all our commanders out there have a crush on you. So we did a quick poll, and overwhelmingly, people choose Eva over Tanya, so congratulations.
Really? Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Commander. I'm Jodie Lynn O'Keefe, and I play Kelly Weaver, and I'm a PR representative for Future Tech. And they play a very big, important part in the game, although I can't exactly tell you why right now. You know what I'm actually really looking forward to, which is kind of corny? I want to play the game and talk to myself. It's
my name's Ivana Milicevic, and I play Dasha Fedorovich again. The Soviets have lost. How that happened, I don't know. I'm helping lead a small, nasty little resistance.
Hi, my name is Jamie Chung, and I play Takara. Takara kind of reminds me of Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. I have an older sister, and she is obsessed with video games. When I told her that I was doing this video game, she knew exactly what I was talking about. I swear to God, she will play the game until she beats the game.
I'm Louise Griffiths, and I'm playing Allied Commander Lydia. She's kind of a cross between, I'd say, like a Lois Lane and Margaret Thatcher.
One of my best friends, Holly Valance, is also in the game. It was amazing that both of us came for this audition and we both get to be in the game.
Holly, how you doing?
I'm good. You are loud.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
you know,
excellent.
warned you ahead of time.
I like it. The style of this reporter is kind of hard-hitting and dramatic at the same time. She has to be sexy. She's got to bring in the crowds. So the skirt's short, but not too short. You know what I mean?
My name is Rick Flair. I played a role of Commander Hill, who's a retired commander. Kicks ass, old school.
It's Ric Flair. He was out here in his robe with Nature Boy on the back, and every other word out of his mouth was, woo!
When I want to do this again, I'm counting on it. I'm giving them a stellar performance. They better bring me back. If they kill Commander Hill off in this next game, and I don't know about it, I'm going to kill a few people off that work for EA.
My name's Malcolm McDowell. The character that I'm playing is the president of the EU, Rupert Thornley. It's the same as acting in anything. You first have to make it believable, and you have to keep to a truth, and then have a bit of fun with it.
There's such an amazing list of actors that have worked on this game and currently work on it, so I'm thrilled to be alongside them.
When we return, you've spoken and we've listened. The BattleCast 5 doubles and turns 10. See which CNC 3, Kane's Wrath, and Red Alert 3 matches were good enough to make it into our inaugural debut. When BattleCast Primetime continues on Command & Conquer TV.
Welcome back to BattleCast Primetime. I'm Raj Joshi. For the past couple of months, there has been a major rivalry going on in the world of CNC. A rivalry even bigger than the battle between David and myself. I know, believe it. It began in January with something that became known as Flair versus Bear. And it ended with style last week as Flair proved why he's a 16-time heavyweight champion of the world. For those of you who missed it, here's a full recap of Flair versus Bear.
You know what it's like to be Ric Flair and be mauled by a bear. Look at my elbow. I want that bear to walk that aisle. I want that bear on the set right now. I want the bear. Woo!
Keep it up, Bear. Figure 4 leg lock all night long. Woo!
Flair and the Bear were not the only ones hashing it out CNC style. You've asked for it in our mailbag last episode, and we've responded by expanding our BattleCast 5 to cover a wider range of CNC titles. That's right, it's time now for the BattleCast 10.
Our first test match pits Jesus Is My Dad against Test-Tune in an Empire Mirror on Temple Prime. Both players tech up to Tier 3, but it's Test-Tune who makes the most of it. His Shogun battleship defended Tengu Rush before charging in for the defensive. But wait, Jesus brought angels to the party. Rocket Angels? This angelic strike force backed by Yuriko makes quick work of the enemy's sea armies in expansion, and it would be all over for Test-Tune if he didn't have one mecha babe back on land. In a place Jesus thought he already cleared out, Test manages to churn out a squad of jet Tengus, which clip the wings off those angels and move all the way into Jesus' base. At the end, it's a hard-fought win for Test-Tune, and Jesus Is My Dad is forced to put his son up for adoption.
9.
We've got some Kane's Wrath action between Alan and Nick again in a GDI sub-faction brawl. Nick sends Pitbulls to strike early, but they run into a mass of powerful Titans, which kick those buggies back all the way to their base. Ouch, ouch, ouch! Those Titans keep Alan's Predators at bay, buying Nick enough time to unleash a Marv on the enemy's base. Alan gets the next best thing, a squad of Juggernauts, and he manages to use them to take that Marv down with some concentrated fire. With no time to build another epic unit, Nick takes the hint and gets his own Juggernauts, making his last stand at the center of the map. Who's got the bigger knots to win this one, huh? Well, it appears to be Alan, who walks away victorious as his APC machine gun puts a quick end to the suicide blitz from Nick again.
8.
Back to Red Alert 3, it's Nuke Strike versus 81 Honor for control of the Central Ridge on Infinity Isle. Both factions move their MCVs to the middle of the map, and Honor builds a wall across the battlefield to keep his air-heavy base safe from Nuke Strike's tanks. This one is all about the base defenses, people. 81 Honor pokes and prods with heavy-hitting Spectrum towers, while Nuke Strike races to level each tower with his V4 rockets. But Honor doesn't give up easily, and just keeps setting those towers down in front of his massive walls. Eventually breaking through, Nuke strikes with Natasha, but it's cut off by a well-placed allied wall. No worries for Nuke Strike, though, as he's taken the time to get a regiment of V4s locked and loaded, sending a flurry of rockets to finish off Honor's Conyard. Without a cue to build his walls and base defenses, the allied player is finished, and Nuke Strike sends his opponent home in a mushroom cloud for the win.
7.
It's G-Bang D, let's call him McMuffin, versus Daskor on tournament decision. Daskor's Nod base falls victim to some early pestering by McMuffin's Storm Riders, but he's forcing his efforts on a southern expansion and teching like lightning to get out a Redeemer. Unfortunately, McMuffin beats Daskor to the punch and gets out his own epic unit, the Eradicator Hexapod. The Hexapod arrives and starts pounding Daskor's expansion with energy blasts, but somehow, Daskor manages to buy enough time and defends the attack with his Redeemer. Playing a largely defensive game all around, Daskor decides to sack up and go on the offensive. Daskor and his legendary Redeemer make quick work of McMuffin's expansion, but he's left his base wide open to McMuffin's mothership. You know what that means, kids. It's Catalyst Cannon time. Woohoo! Boom, 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 boom! 4 attempts and about a kabillion credits later, McMuffin finally manages to take out Daskor's expansion. But it comes at the high cost of the game, as McMuffin's final offensive gets stopped by some key Daskor defenses, as he hands this one to Daskor.
6.
It's a 2v2 marathon, pitting the allied combo of Esquire, Apocalypse, and Digital against the Soviet Allied alliance of Maestral and Nalra on Pool Party. Maestro decides to skip the ground war and strike hard at Digital's base, obliterating the Allied resource operation with the flurry of flak troopers. Apocalypse goes for Maestro's southern flank, but the Soviet player has already taken to the seas and pumped out a devastating strike force of bullfrog-backed dreadnoughts to finish the job at Digital's base. Meanwhile, back at his base, Apocalypse seizes the chance and attacks with Riptides, while Digital takes revenge and drops Maestro's wayward MCV into the ocean, leaving him only with the sea base to defend. The Allies' last shot? Enter Tanya number 1. Close to a win on the Soviet MCV, she is cast to the depths by a magnetic singularity. Tanya number 2 enters the stage and takes down the refinery, but then foolishly jumps back into the vulnerable Riptide and gets blown to bits. Fail! Third time's the charm? Nope! With all options exhausted and dreadnoughts raining fire on his base, Apocalypse can only watch as his MCV and his chance to win are snatched away. Maestro takes the day as the comeback kid.
5.
We're going back in time to CNC3 as Kai-Fire takes on Scorpion in the screen mirror on Small Town USA. Both players start in classic Small Town USA fashion, nabbing the expansion fields at the corners of the map. A little Tiberium for me, and a nice striking position against the enemy base for me as well. It's Kai-Fire who draws first blood, sending Devastator warships to decimate Scorpion's base. But Seekers and Storm Miners chase the behemoths away. Bye-bye! Kai-Fire, realizing the Air Tier 3 game is no way to play, goes for a more traditional route and sends in a mess of tripods to destroy Scorpion's expansion. But what's this? Scorpion, out of nowhere, steals the momentum by sneaking a few choice units into Kai-Fire's base and begins to devastate Kai-Fire from inside out. Come here!
4.
Clanmates Apathy and Obsolete square up for a little sibling rivalry on Fire Island. It starts as a game of copycat. Apathy loses his early game expansion to a few flak troopers, and so he follows up with his own Riptide strike. Obsolete takes to the air, and so Apathy races to Apollos. But Obsolete switches it up when his bears start popping up in Apathy's base. That's right, he's set up camp with his MCV right in Apathy's house, and he's making a mess. But Apathy's a neat freak and cleans up this sullied Soviet with some good old-fashioned javelin juice. And then it's back to the copy game, as Apathy moves his MCV just outside of Obsolete's forward base. But he's greeted by Akira. He tries to escape, but no! Magnetic Satellite sucks his MCV into the heavens, and now Apathy is flying without a Conyard. But who will save the day for the Allies? That's right, it's Tanya! Mowing down resistance, she takes out structure after helpless structure. With no air force or base defenses to stop her, Tanya is a demolitions machine, and soon Obsolete is out of the game, shaking his head and wondering how it all went so wrong.
3.
It's Supermakill's Reaper 17 scrin against Viati's SOCOM GDI on Tournament Tower. Viati goes for a central platform first, and then sets up shop at the western Tiberium field. In an act of preemptive defense, Audi also decides to blow up the unarmed logistics center to avoid any garrison opportunities for Supermakill. Unfortunately, Viati should be worrying about the armed opposition, as Supermakill sends in the tripod. Dun, 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 dun. Supermakill puts his drone platform down outside the Tiberium field and builds a storm tower to obliterate any opposition. Supermakill, living up to his name, decides to finish his opponent in a big, big way and deploys a mothership, which goes booyah! And takes half of Viati's remaining Tiberium. Viati, realizing the end is near, sends in a final force of SOCOM infantry, but it's not enough, and he's forced to throw in the towel.
2.
And in our most impressive RA3 display of the month, it's I Can Fish and I Am Dynamic facing off on industrial strength with two names that I Am Something. Early Harvester attacks distract Dynamic as I Can Fish gets Tengus in the air. Taking air dominance, I Can Fish follows up with a direct attack on Dynamic's base. But where's his MCV? Answer, at I Can Fish's base. A multi-gunner turret forces Fish to sell his expanded refinery, and a barracks in the middle of his enemy's base puts Fish on alert. But the Empire has hardware and infantry to spare, and they all come down on Dynamic's MCV at once. Fish charges forward, but he's put on ice by some well-garrisoned first-tier infantry. His entire attack wave is gone. Like hungry piranha, that infantry force moves in, takes down Fish's MCV, and then begins devouring the rest of his base. Fish takes a hint and sends just a few tank busters to force a sell-off at Dynamic's base. Now, with no unit-producing structures left on the map, the match comes down to Harvesters. Performing his own version of Harry Carry, Dynamic shoots down one of his own Apollos in a desperate attempt to crash down on the enemy Harvester. And he misses! Dynamic is reduced to a spectator as his last power plant falls to the surprisingly strong Japanese Harvester.
1. Our final match comes from Siberian Wars, a classic GDI nod matchup between Interweb Gangsta and Toady 20 on tournament decision. Toady 20 rushes to Predator tanks and gets his spam ready to go. But Interweb Gangsta has his number and moves his digs to the barrio where it's hidden from Depopo. Unaware of this move, Toady's Predators storm Gangsta's hood, but they miss his crib by a mile. It's looking good for Toady, that is, until he looks back at his base. Holy crap! Gangsta's throwing down some serious energy bling as the 3 obelisks are capping all of Toady's structures. Toady eventually realizes that he's fallen for the classic decoy base trap, but it's not before Gangsta decides to sell his old hood for some cheddar to buy more guns and engineers. Toady's Predators finally make it back to the reins of his base, but they're greeted by a slew of rockets and bust a cap in their face. I'm home! Bang! Last hope for Toady is an infantry rush, but his forces are no match for Gangsta's homies. What up, dog? You just got owned by the Gangsta. And there's your 10 for this month.
The 10, brought to you by Battleforge. Download the demo today at battleforge.com.
And remember, fans, BattleCast Primetime is your show, so be sure to have your voices heard. Head on over to www.commandandconquer.com and fill out our monthly BattleCast Primetime survey. Let us know what you think and how we can make things better. Who knows? You may even get your suggestions read in our mailbag segment, or see things like the BattleCast 10 as a result.
In the meantime, let's check in with the man who's got his finger on the pulse of the community as we take a peek into Apoc's Corner.
So listen up, CNC fans. I'm going to be real honest with you. We're going to change things up in the corner a little bit here. Rather than tell you what you might have already seen on our website or anywhere else around the CNC world, I'm going to spotlight what you definitely need to check out in the CNC community. First up, user Max's Cactus from the Spore forums has decided to bring the world of CNC to Will Wright's masterpiece, Spore. She's used the Spore creature creator to create the Soviet grinder tank, the Soviet Reaper, and the Allied pacifier FAV to use directly within Spore. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladder Season 3 is coming, and this time, we're not doing it just for one game, but 2 games. That means 2-time reigning champ Sean I Train Harder is going to have to grow 4 arms to play both at once, because Ladder Season 3 is going to play host to Red Alert 3 and the return of Kane's Wrath. If you want to find out more news about Ladder Season 3, keep your eyes posted on our website all April at commandandconquer.com. All right, everyone, it's last call in Apoc's Corner, and it has to go to a very special mod in the BFME community. What's the name? It's RJ's Rise of the Witch King version 1.06. In this latest release, he includes over 70 new units, heroes, structures, and a brand new dynamic camera system that's going to bring you right into Middle-earth, back into that BFME action. That's all the news and spotlights I have for you on this episode. Enjoy the rest of BattleCast Primetime. Get out of my corner now and go play.
Thanks, Aaron. Hopefully you're not too upset with the fact that we threw you back in your old corner. I mean, look on the bright side. If I had my way, it'd be called Apoc's Street Corner.
You know what, Raj? I'm really getting sick of you picking on Aaron like this. What did he do to you?
What are you talking about? I mean, Aaron's my favorite little community manager.
Oh, come on. There's more to this.
He's tiny. Too tiny. Still to come, the community has voted, and Foxbox gets another shot at the main event. Does a box have what it takes to come back from last month's defeat, or will he be like Aaron and once again cower on the main stage? Find out when BattleCast Primetime continues on Command and Conquer TV.
Back to work, Commander.
Tonight, on the main event, after his crushing defeat against Psycho XNC last month, the community has voted to breathe new life into Foxbox. Does Foxbox Phoenix have what it takes to defeat Joza? Will we see Dojo Core Rush 2.0 or another Harvester Assault Force? This is the main event. Guys, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. It's great to be back.
Should be a really exciting match in the new patch.
Now, guys, I have to ask, when we decided to open up the main event to a vote for the community, did either of you ever expect that the community would actually vote to bring someone back who was recently defeated?
No, I wouldn't have guessed it. I mean, they don't like losers, so I was kind of surprised.
Along the same time, we just put out a new patch, and this sort of breathes new life into Foxbox's game. I think they want to see what he can do given these new situations.
Now, we also have a new trick up our sleeves, being inventive as we are. We have Professor Greg Kasavin here as part of the show. Seems only natural now for him to step in and give us his thoughts and sort of strategies and tips for both players to adhere to. Let's turn it over now to Professor Greg Kasavin and the keys to victory.
Thanks, guys. This is an interesting match since both of these players are hardcore Empire commanders. Foxbox has a proven penchant for the Dojo Core Rush and uses it often against Soviet and Allied players. Will the strat be as effective against a mirrored foe? I'd urge Joza to keep Foxbox occupied in the early game with an infantry rush, scouting carefully to destroy all forward structures, especially barracks, in case Foxbox tries to tech up and get shinobis on the map. This kind of take-charge attack was the key to defeating Foxbox in last month's main event, so I hope Joza was watching. On the other side, Joza hasn't been much for the structure rush. His weapons of choice all come out of the Mecha Bay. When we saw him on BattleCast Primetime in December of last year, he unleashed a stunning come-from-behind victory against Matiz on Fire Island using nothing but tsunami tanks and strikers. When this doesn't work, Joza likes to have a seaport on standby, and he can be deadly with just a couple of shoguns, but he has a weakness. We've seen Joza get distracted during hectic matches, allowing his shoguns to languish near an enemy base while he deals with defending his own. If Foxbox can vary up his attacks and surprise Joza with his strats, he might throw off this methodical player's game enough to pull off a win. So to sum up, here are this month's keys to victory. To win, Foxbox has to switch up his strats. Let's hope the Dojo Rush isn't the only trick up his sleeve. He should also take to the sea early enough to keep Joza from getting shoguns on the map. On the other side, Joza needs to be smart about his early game counters. Don't let shinobis storm the map, and don't let dojos walk up to the front door. Tech up quickly to get an advantage on early game-centric Foxbox, and he'll have more than a fighting chance. And those are the keys to victory. Good luck, and keep it clean out there.
Thanks, Greg. Great to have you as part of the show. I'm personally excited to see Foxbox back for more. Who knows what is up with that kid? He's everything. He's a chameleon, changes constantly. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, guys, but I'm going to stick my neck out, and I'm going to be backing Foxbox Phoenix in this month's Pick of the Match. Greg, what say you? Where do you stand?
I love Foxbox, but I've been burned by him once. I got to go with Joza this time.
Traitorous!
Can I say?
All right, Feasel.
You know, I usually disagree with Greg, but in this particular case, I'm going to have to go with Joza too. I've seen the guy micromanage. I'm going to have to jump on board the Joza ship because Joza, Joshi, brothers from a different mother, huh? Know what I'm saying?
Well, there you have it. I'm alone on the island here, but we'll see if the community will come and join me as we tally up their poll results. Greg, why don't you give us a little bit of that battleground recon of yours in the meantime?
Pyroclasm is a 3-player volcanic map with plenty of room for expansion. All players start with 2 ore nodes and a third just off the coast for easy access. A nearby oil derrick on each peninsula offers even more resourcing opportunities. At the center of the map, 3 extra ore nodes line a central ridge. If you're gonna have a forward base on Pyroclasm, it better be here. And remember, the easiest way to get to your opponent's base on this island map is the open seas, so expect some naval gameplay when things get hairy.
So Greg and Jeremy, who do you think has the advantage given Pyroclasm's layout and size? Well, I would say the Empire player in this case, but given that they're both playing Empire, well, it's going to be pretty balanced. Wow. Thank you.
Once again, we are glad we bring in our experts for this insightful information. Well, before we begin, it looks as though our community is joining me on the island of descent and picking Foxbox Phoenix. Gentlemen, it's time now. Let the games begin. Tonight's matchup is between the Phoenix, Foxbox, and Joza on Pyroclasm. All right, Greg, why don't you set us up? Who's what, where?
All right, well, we've got Joza playing as Purple Japan up in the north there, and Foxbox playing as Blue Japan down in the southeast.
Ooh, here we see an interesting build order already. He's going triple refinery. We should jump down and see what his opponent's doing at this point.
Oh, look at this. Some serious fast teching happening from Foxbox down there. You think he's going for Eureka?
He's going for tier 3 something. I'd love to see Eureka come out of that barracks. It's his only production facility so far.
I mean, it looks to me like what Joe's is doing is actually securing the center so then he can push into the third starting point at his leisure, and you know he'll know if Foxbox makes a push on it. This is actually probably a little more conservative.
And look, we got Eureka! She's made an appearance, ladies and gentlemen. Eureka Omega has entered the battlefield.
And she's in a sudden transport. If this particular rush from Foxbox fails, he's going to definitely have a hard time catching up economically. Yuriko's got to come out. That sudden transport is under attack, and she's able to kill a single VX, but she's under tons of Tengu fire.
Yeah,
it looks like
not a good matchup for
Eureka's
her.
going bye-bye, huh?
She made it back into sudden transport, and he left a Tengu behind to take the brunt of the fire while he gets that sudden transport to his opponent's base. But really, what's he going to do with it at this point?
This is all, and this is just a battle of micro.
And Yuriko is down, got killed by a Imperial Warrior.
Yeah, this is rough for Foxbox. I mean, that was a huge sort of all-in strategy. And,
so in order to win, the Tengu War is really, really interesting. He's using a lesser number of Tengus to hold off a greater number of Tengus so he can get out the second Yuriko, which his opponent is now unable to scout because he was too busy dealing with these Tengus up towards his forward base.
MCV, come on, come on, come on.
He's got to take out those Tengus before he can
and taking those Tengus off was not the best idea. Look how many of those went down really quickly to Yuriko's withering anti-air fire.
And there goes the MCV. What was that, a cell look like?
Let's sell the MCV. Who would ever do something crazy like that? Over and over.
And we have Yuriko number 3.
Wow.
Wow.
Foxbox is not gaining ground, push after push. He really needs to maybe vary it up here pretty soon.
I mean, it sounds like I'm kind of figuring out Foxbox's strategy here. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it seems like he's very much, he's got one strategy he employs from the get-go as like his offensive strategy. And if that fails, he kind of is a little...
we saw this with Umbao where, they try that initial strategy, it doesn't work, and they just don't have anything to adapt to fast enough, and they can really get stuck in these traps of just trying the same thing over and over and over again.
Are you going to see Eureka number 4?
I wouldn't be surprised if we did, although even by this point I would hope Foxbox has learned his lesson, but we'll see. Yeah,
and now we just have Tengus with point defense drones against Tengus with point defense drones.
I think Foxbox was attempting this, but got a little distracted. Was actually moving a sudden transport with Eureka in it around the back to his main base, which, as we saw, is completely unguarded. Again, this is sort of the clinical definition of insanity, where we just keep trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
And there's Eureka number 4.
The fact that Foxbox was able to get up to Eureka so fast is definitely a result of the 1.08 patch.
So he's like, thank you, Greg Black, as he throws out Eureka number 20.
Here we see a single Tengu. Oh no, that's his sudden transport filled with Eureka.
There we go.
Will she survive the onslaught from these Sea-Wings though? No.
He's using an infantry unit against an army composed almost entirely of anti-infantry units. So
that seems like a formula for not success.
Yeah, I mean, Eureka's good, but she is counterable.
The community votes to bring Foxbox back again. I am not voting for it. Sorry, bud.
So Foxbox is keeping the battle away from his base.
So that's good news. And there's Eureka number 5. Oh, here
there's the Shogun.
Finally.
Finally. On me. He's already got the GG tight. He's waiting to hit us.
Yeah, just waiting for it, and Eureka's just kind of hanging out back at that base.
Like, oh boy. Versus the Imperial Warrior.
So here we go, the micro.
Can we zoom in here?
Boom.
He's just got to be having fun at this point. I mean, how many Imperial Warriors can I send against, and powers can I throw against Yuriko?
What are the bets in that we see another Yuriko?
Oh, I said they're high, Rod.
I don't know. I think this game
1 to 5 didn't work. Why not 6?
This game could end before we get another Eureka.
He's got a Shogun bombarding his base. It's over.
It looks like he's going to
Harvester attacking
his Harvester.
Oh, no.
Harvester. This is just not going to work against a heroic upgraded Shogun.
And Shoguns are significantly faster than
He's
Dreadnoughts.
going back to basics. He's like, Eureka number 5 didn't work. I'm going to go back. That Harvester.
Yeah.
The guys on BattleCast loved it last time. Let's give it to him again.
So the problem here is that Shoguns are significantly faster and can fire on the move, which makes them sort of the opposite of the Dreadnought.
Not to mention they can always just turn around and run into you, and
that wasn't good.
And that is game with only one structure left.
Yeah, that's right.
Boom! That's the second time this boy's been burned. That's not good.
That's right, 2-timing Joji, baby. Boom, chickadee boom.
So, Greg, what would you say was the key turning point of this match?
When the first Yuriko didn't work, and the second didn't work, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth didn't work, you know, Foxbox really should have changed it up. It was all showmanship.
I agree. He was playing to the fans. He knew that we were talking about him, being like, "Oh, dude, Harvester Dreadnought." He's like, "Hey, you saw that? Check out Harvester Shogun." Not so much.
Didn't work quite as well as last time.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Hop on over to www.commandandconquer.com and tell us what you think by filling out our monthly BattleCast Primetime survey. Stay tuned to all of us. For Raj Joshi, I'm David Silverman. Boom. We'll see you on the battlefield. I had Tiger, Raj.
More Yurikos, David.